So what is happening, party people? This is Brian Jump. Welcome to the SAI Marketing Podcast. It is a wonderful and beautiful Saturday, December 27th. Yeah, I had to cheat and look. I didn't remember the date. I should have. It's 2 days after Christmas, 3 days after Festivus. So that holiday is gaining ground, by the way. A lot of people love Festivus. You should look it up. It's pretty funny if you're not a Seinfeld fan. And it actually, Seinfeld didn't think it up. They just promoted it. It's actually a person that they knew on the show. That guy's dad created it. It's a festival for the rest of us, or Festivus, which I think is just funny is all get up. But anywho, we're going to talk today about some little tidy little tidbits, some things that can help your business hopefully grow and blossom and flourish in this wonderful upcoming year. We've got maybe 4 more days, and it's not going to be 2025 anymore. 2025 sounds like the future to me. I feel like I'm Buck Rogers or a Star Wars episode, like way in the future, because I'm an old man. And for you youngies, maybe 2025 doesn't have a ring or a connotation like some futuristic. But I mean, it sounds kind of crazy to me, just because of, yeah, like I said, probably my age. But it's a privilege. I'm not complaining. It's just, wow, 2026. Wow. In the year 2026, we're all going to be pretty much the same. No, there's been a lot of changes, obviously, a lot of good stuff. AI is here. I use it all the time. My wife's jealous. She thinks it's my new girlfriend. It kind of is. But anyway, all right, so let's get after this. So today, in kind of a nod to $100 million offers, one of our great thinkers of our time, some would agree. I truly think so. That's why I say it. Alex Hormozi has this great book. He slinged it hard, about a month ago, and did over 100 million online in basically a couple days. I think maybe even one day technically, and then they did like another 6 or 7 the next day or two after. So people that actually, I don't think it was $100 million offers. It was his third book. It was still a good book, and a good premise. But I want to roll it back to $100 million offers. I think that's the most leverage that anybody can use in a business. And I think it's also the hardest, and that's, the opportunity. The opportunity is there, and that's why I think you can leapfrog over others in your space if you're willing to put the work in. A lot of people aren't. I mean, I'm going to put both my hands up in the air if you're going with the audio version on this one. And that's because sometimes I don't have the energy. I don't have the time. I'm doing so with family. I'm dealing with clients. I've only got so many limbs and minutes per day. So my LPD, limits per day. So some people do MPH. I'm an LPD guy. So yeah. But today we're going to talk about offers and what you can do, basically like a framework of how you can craft a good offer, a better offer maybe than the golden competitor down the street that you've always been trying to wax, and they've just got a thorn in your side, or a shiv or something if you did time in the pen. So let's get after it. Let's talk about it. I'm going to be checking my laptop here because I've got some good little notes, how to basically kind of dive in on this and how you can basically come up with some ideas and then road test them. Test them on friends, family, test them on some clients if you have that ability without causing too much fallout or what have you, right? So first thing you want to do is start with a moment of maximum emotion. And I can easily speak to my business because if I get into talking about barbering, or which I'm going to talk about, house cleaning, roofing, whatever, other service businesses, I don't run those businesses. I mean, I run a auto body shop, and I also am an ad agency, for a lot of different other businesses. So those are my competencies, right? I'm not a barber. I have friends of the family who are in the hair biz. They're in the follicle freestyle. So I see from a vantage point upon the hill what they do and what kind of seems to work and what doesn't work. So I can speak to it a little bit, but it's not my main, right? So that's why when I give you guys examples, I'm going to talk about a lot of auto body, and that's not because this is technically an auto body or PDR podcast, although it started off as PDR. We're basically talking about service businesses, right? So start with the moment of maximum emotion. So right after somebody gets in an accident, right, let's walk it over to hair. Right when somebody gets a bad haircut or bad hair color, or maybe it's maximum motion because somebody's going to be getting married in a month and they really want to get their stylist set up. It could be a lot of those kind of things. So you want to be right around the person at the time when they're not going to be using logic, they're going to be using their emotion. When you think about when is the time that my potential customer, my avatar, is going to be the most anxious, when is the pain most immediate, and identifying what the different kinds of pain they're going to go through for you to cure that pain with your service, and when do they want certainty? When do they need trust? Not just really options. Okay. In that part, we're going to really kind of spread open. We're going to peel back the layers of that marketing onion, because I think that's, from doing some research, that's where I think a lot of people think, oh man, I've got to add a new flavor of ice cream to my business. No, you don't. You basically have to reduce. You have to take back. And if you simplify and you really focus on the customer's pain, that's where the gold lies in them dar hills. Okay, Prospector Paul. So that's, for me, it's when the car accident happens, the fear, the time pressure, the confusion, that's when my offer matters. Somebody got door dinged really bad and they come in, hey, I need you to look at this, and they start to kind of, you can just tell they're emotional. They want to tell you the story about how it happened, and you're like, go right ahead. Let me hear the narrative, So, a lot of times I don't have time. I try to bequeath that, impart that compassion, and it's important, and empathy. And I believe that every business, you should utilize that. And I don't mean for ill-gotten gains or just to be fake, but it's just being at the core level of the human condition. It's just being a good person, for God's sake, right? So here's the thing. A lot of offers are designed kind of in a boardroom, if you will, with corporations. They're not designed for moments of panic. And what you need to do, and I really think, like I said, based upon my research, and it's worked for us, is focus on the customer's fear or fears. Okay, find out, and I know that seems obvious, but there's often things that you maybe don't know, especially if you're new to the business that you're in. If you've been doing it for 10 or 20, 30 years like me, I clearly know from just the school of just opening the door every day, from just the time horizon, I've just by osmosis just sucked in, hey, you know what? I read your reviews, AKA I trust you, or AKA I've seen that people talk about price, or you have a brick and mortar. I'm so glad to be here at the brick and mortar, AKA I don't trust the mobile guys, on and on and on. It's those kind of things. Or I'm not going to the dealership. Or like this lady said last week, I went to the dealership and what a big mistake that was. I'm sold on you guys. You hear this kind of stuff. So people in my industry are afraid of getting ripped off. They're afraid of wasting money and getting, by maybe paying for the service twice, which does happen a lot, unfortunately. And they don't want to hire a contractor per se because they're afraid this person might disappear halfway through. Literally today, I'm out in the parking lot. I'm talking to Jasmine, I think her name was, and she was texting a guy who I gave her the estimate for her damage, basically $1,000. They thrashed their rental car, and this guy's saying he fixed it for $250 and he'd do it tomorrow. I go, first of all, anybody that's working on a Sunday, red flag number one, red flag number two, that price. She's like, yeah, it's hugely different. I go, just see if he's got a website and if he's got reviews. If he's got a website, reviews, and a Yelp, maybe he's legit. I don't know. Maybe it's somebody who I know. But if he doesn't, I'd run from that. And she's texting him as I'm filling out her estimate form, and he's saying, I've been doing this for 35 years. Let me send you photos. No, this is a scammer. I could take photos of the president and tell other countries that, oh yeah, I've been doing presidential stuff, and I'm his cousin or whatever. Here's the photos. Photoshop it in or whatever. No, photos don't mean nothing, especially in today's age. Photos can be easily got. 20, 30 years ago, photos were a little bit hard to kind of manipulate. Nowadays, oh my gosh. I mean, we got every kind of photo manipulation tool at our toe tips. So it doesn't even, it's like, come on. So no, she was definitely getting set up to get ripped off. So find out the fears. What is my customer really afraid of? They're afraid of X or Y or X, Y, and Z. Identify that, because that's what has to be in the marketing. It's not why I'm best It's not why I won an award. It's not because I've been in business since 1992. No, who cares? Who cares? How does that might sound good to me when I'm going to sleep. Man, you've been in business since 92, Brian. You're a good dude. Good night. No, that's not it. It's what the customer feels. It's what benefits them, right? Because I'm not serving Brian, I'm serving the customer. Therefore, I need to think what's going to be the benefit for them, right? So here's the big one, guys. You need to lean in. Lean in right now. Lean in. All right. Remove a risk. Don't add a feature. Remember I said don't add this. It shouldn't be Baskin Robbins 32 flavors. Let's add, chocolate, peppermint, and dog poo. No. As tasty as that sounds. No. Let's remove a risk. People are going to be much more motivated by de-risking than adding a new feature. Oh yeah, you know what? We have this new whammy tool that da-da-da-da, or I'm going to do a free detail. No. I'm going to take away some risk from them or make it maybe more convenient. I'm not gonna do any marketing jargon or slogans. Okay, let's talk about what kind of risks you can get into for your business. Whether you're a barber, a roofer, a house painter, whatever it is, right? Time risk, guaranteed turnaround, or you have a hot lane, get them in quick opportunity. They got to pay like a rush fee, but they can get you in. So you take away the risk of time, which people who have money, by the way, that's probably the number one lever. Aside from you gaining the trust that you're going to be able to perform the service, time is the biggest, strongest currency. Why? Because people with money realize, hey, I've already got problem one. I can't really get a time machine, so I'm going to do everything I can to buy back my time. And if it costs me a little extra money, but Brian and his little minions here at Dentco Ops are going to take care of me, fantastical. Had a guy today, I believe he's very well off, ex-Microsoft guy. You know what? Yeah, he cares that we don't rip him off, but at the same time, did we take care of his Rivian right? Of course we did. Looks fantastic. Hardly looked it over. High five. Have a great Christmas, great holiday, guys. Happy New Year. We'll see you hopefully not too soon. I get it. I'm the Grim Reaper of cars. People don't want to see me. I'm not serving beer and coffee. I'm serving huge freaking bills, but I'm going to fix your car. So they hate to come in. They love to leave, right? Time risk. Number 2, financial risk. Price certainty and deductible coverage for me. Price certainty. In other words, when I come pick up my car, is it going to be $500? It's going to be $100 more. No, we never do that. If I'm going to raise a price, I'm going to call somebody. And I tell them that. If there's something else that we find, which it does happen, I'm going to tell you. Now, this is something that's going to happen in barbering. Okay, you know what? I'm in the middle of cutting, and you got a pimple here. That's going to cost $20. No. Now, as much as my wife would probably like to charge for a pimple or a little hair scale or something, it's probably not going to happen. So this, price certainty for me and other industries, maybe like roofing or something, yeah, it's important, but probably not for hairstylists, barbers, and that kind of thing. All right, what about social risk? Reviews, reputation, proof. Super important. Super important. That's one of the main things of how we have success, because people trust us based upon what others have written about us. Not what we write. Oh, we're the best. Like the guy saying, look at my photos. Look at me, look at me. No, how about I hear what other people talk about with you? You may, aka are, a bullshitter. I want to hear what people say about Jimbo's, fly-by-night, Sundays open dent repair. Come on. Decision risk. A clear next step, no upsell pressure. Hey, you got to get in now. Price is going to double tomorrow. Crap like that. Used car salesman jargon bullshit. Build the offer. This is step number 2. Build the offer around a constraint that you already have. And I say this because if you have that constraint, your competitors have that constraint. Either it's space, it's serviceability or scale, providing the supply for doing that, maybe labor supply. We all have constraints in certain kinds of business. If somebody's in your chair and you're a barber or a stylist, you're not going to shove 2 people in that chair side by side. Hey guys, stop moving. And just, start doing 2 people. I mean, you could, and maybe in third world countries they do that. Maybe India, it's 2 per chair. I don't know. China, same thing. You know what? Things are really tight around here. Space is tough. I cut 2 people per chair. Hilarious. I've never seen it, but there's a video idea for somebody out there right now. How we're lowering prices because we're putting 2 in the chair at a time. The idea is you have a constraint. So this is where you can come up with something to make your offer uncopyable. Basically that moat we talk about, right? Like blue ocean. Red ocean means there's tons of businesses out there that do what you do. Blue ocean means you're doing something that nobody else can do. And the more you can kind of lean into blue, nothing wrong with red. Red means there's demand. That's a good thing. But if you're going to be a commodity and you're selling water or gas and everybody's just looking for the cheaper price because they think that you're all the same, no. That it comes in, and people come in all the time. Hey, you're just one of those dent guys that's just going to pop out like bubble wrap. How much for you to pop one of these? Like we had a guy today. I've had a lot of stories today, so we've had a lot of people today, and it's freaking Saturday. This guy comes in, how much for this tiny, small, tiny, tiny, small, small, tiny? Okay, I already, stop. I know the fifth time you said tiny, small. You're not saying that. You're saying your budget's tiny, small, tiny. And it wasn't small. That day, of course, it wasn't. It was involved. It had factors. And I probably can't do that today, but if I'm going to do it today, it's going to be $750. Well, what's the extra 50 for? It's like, I don't know. It's going to buy me lunch. Whatever. That's the price. Should we go inside and look at the pricing board, which I'm pointing at because you can't see it off camera here, but it's right there. Yeah, they can come look at all the factors, and would have been more than that. And they thought, oh, wow, that's way too much money, Well, take your white Ford Explorer Sport and go see if somebody else can do a better job or the same job for less. You're not gonna succeed if everybody thinks you're a commodity. You have to specialize. And those people didn't understand. And I told you, I had 6 people in the parking lot at that point, and I got cars, Rivians getting picked up, and Matt White, Mercedes getting picked up all around them. All they had to do was just pull their eyes up for a second, look around, and say, maybe this shop knows kind of what they're doing. But that's all right. They'll do their research and they're going to find out real quick one way or another. Or maybe it's out of their budget. Constraints at work, limited capacity, specialized skill. Me. Speed advantage. Yeah, maybe we can turn stuff fast. I told them today, hey, you know what? Drop it off. I'll knock it. I'm glad they did it. The car that I was working on, this smashed. I don't even want to tell you guys. I'm not going to go into the story of this Hyundai. This was something I've never seen in 30 years. But nonetheless, he accused me of painting it, and he was just adamant that I had painted the liftgate, and it was like a football-sized dent on. I don't know why I keep looking at the microphone like the microphone's filming me. Are you filming me too? Is there 2 cameras here? So football-sized dent on this liftgate of this Hyundai, and he was just so sure that I had painted it because it was a really good. And it wasn't even like great. It was probably a 98, 99, what I consider, but I still saw like a wave or whatever in it. But when I mean wave, I'm talking like across the parking lot. It's pretty darn good kind of thing that I still feel happy. But because when I polished it, there was 2 dots of compound on the window. He's like, this looks like white paint. Did you paint my car? And kind of like accusatory. And I'm like, even if I wanted to, I could not have painted your car in the 4 hours I've had it, pearl white and all that. But that's the speed advantage. Going back to what I'm saying about constraints, PDR is definitely an advantage as far as speed. And I whipped that thing out. And the other guy, if he wanted to have a speed advantage, could have done it, but he would have had to pay a little bit of not even that much. That the deal that we gave him today is kind of like I said, I would have been there probably till 8 o'clock tonight, Saturday. Family's at home calling me like, why aren't you here having pot pies and blah, blah, blah. And I'd be like, crying in my soup because I'm working on this, Ford Explorer Sport, with this tiny, small, tiny, tiny, small, and then kind of tiny dent. All right, so other constraints that work. Narrow service scope. That's a tough one. I'm trying to think of an example of a narrow service scope. Well, if you just do one thing, we just do dents or we just paint wheels, that can be a constraint. You may have some success with that. I only do military cuts, but maybe you're right near a military base. Okay, maybe. And then location or access. Location for sure can be a constraint that works. You could be situated. I've been in businesses where we set up either temporary for doing hail repair, and we're in such a gold spot where there's tons of traffic going by. Excuse me. I don't have to do any marketing. I don't have to freaking put out a balloon. I just literally have a sign out there, and it's like adding water. All of a sudden that beanstalk just grows. Line out the door, which is just, that's location. So there's a lot of different ways to have constraints that work. So competitors, they can copy your words. But not the structure. It's hard to get a great location. It's hard to do the limited capacity or have a specialized skill. How many people, I wish I could, it's a problem for me, but it's also a blessing as far as, I'm like the guy said today, I'm 60 years old, guys. I've been doing this for 34 years doing paintless dent repair. I'm basically like a Monet, or Chagall or Dali of doing dents nowadays. And it's stupid simple because I've been doing it forever, probably longer than the people that listen to this podcast on average. So as far as their age, not how many minutes they put in, although maybe people that listen for 30, 34 minutes, I don't know. But so competitors can copy the words, but they can't copy the structure. So that you want to have a moat. You want to have something for this great offer that is a constraint that you have, but you actually can push through it and make it work. So think about it. Your constraints, they're not really weaknesses. They're kind of like they're your raw material, if you will. And you want to utilize that because that's how you can differentiate. And others, your customers not going to think of you as a commodity, and your competitors can't compete. And luckily, and I say luck, some of it's luck, some of it's engineered. That's kind of the situation that I'm in with this particular business. Have I been in that fortunate position for all of my businesses throughout my entire life? No. I've competed for mobile paintless stain repair. I've competed doing paintless stain repair at dealers. And it sucks when you walk in and it's like, man, I got to do a soft shoe dance and do a little vaudeville act here with my hat and cane, because other than that, they don't think that my service is anything different than every Joe Blow or Sally that came through the door the day before. And there's nothing worse, in my opinion, than selling a service or a product that's basically a commodity. No thanks. Whenever I sell a car, for example, if I have a personal car, I'm so thankful if I'm selling like a Porsche, because it's not really a commodity. It's a special thing that people have attributed extra value to and passion. But if I'm selling a Toyota Camry, or we even sold my oldest son's Tacoma, which is usually pretty high value, but even selling that thing a couple years ago was kind of a pain. I'm like, why is this such a pain in the ass? Because there's enough Tacomas and the market's kind of matured and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, third thing, make the offer easy to say yes to and easy to explain, okay? So can your customer explain it to a friend or family member without freaking butchering it up, right? Oh, Dentco, they do auto body, top level stuff, and often their price is less or very competitive, and they're super friendly, and I always seem to get extra stuff down there. I always go there, and the whole street. I mean, I hear this. The whole street, everybody knows who you are, Brian. We everybody spreads the gospel, and everybody comes to you, and I love that. That is, a referral is the greatest form of compliment. It doesn't pay the bills at the end of the day, but indirectly it kind of does down the line, right? The little daisy chain or the spoken wheel kind of thing. Sure, we'd rather have a financial tip, but at the end of the day, tell your neighbors about me, and pretty soon I've got 2 or 3 people that came the next week because Bob was super happy about his CRV. Yeah, it's a good thing. So make it easier for people to talk about. Bad. You don't want to have complicated bundles. Well, if you buy 2 dents, I'll give you a 3rd dent in October. No, that's not going to work. Or long explanations. Well, we could do the paintless stain repair, but I've got to do this special kind of thing where I've got to flip the car on its side and then I get heated up to 220, and then we have to wait for the right kind of wind from the south. It can't be a long explanation. It's got to be something stupid simple. And am I saying that because some of my customers come in are stupid? Let's move on to the next. All right, so good. So a good test for making an offer that's easy to say yes to and easy to explain. Okay, one promise. Simplify it. Okay, one promise. I'm going to do a better job than other shops. I'm going to do it for the same or less price. And I'm going to do that. And here's a third one. And it's going to be fast. Okay? One outcome. Perfection. Factory. Oh, I don't really need it. Well, if you don't need it, guess what? You're going to get it. Otherwise, if you don't want it and you really just are looking for something that's half done, go down the road. There's other people that are glad to take the same amount of money, if not more, and do less for you. If that's what you really want, I'm not for you, because maybe you don't need it in your mind perfect. I need it perfect, because when your neighbor looks at it, your friend, your family, your spouse, your golden retriever, I want the golden retriever to be panting, looking at it and go, pause up. So that's a saying I might have to use in the future, pause up. One next step. So if they like what they see, it's easy. They don't have to do a bunch of freaking protocol, right? Paperwork and everything. It's just one step, slide them through the door on the slip inside, sign right here. All right, you're in. Make it simple. Here's some stats. Let's see if you guys can lean in on this. 68% of customers leave because they feel uncertainty, not price. What does that mean? They don't trust you. They don't freaking trust you. It could be the nose piercing. It could be the 3rd set of eyebrows you have. I don't know. Hopefully you don't have either of those, but if you do, it's going to hurt the trust. People don't usually walk away over money. They walk away over fear. All right. So customers are 3x more likely to buy when risk is clearly reduced. I know you don't know who we are, but I'll tell you what, I'm just saying hypothetically, I want you to go on YouTube. I want you to go to Google Maps or Yelp. I want you to look us up. Pick any review you want. Pick the most recent. Pick it from 2 years ago, whatever suits your fancy. And then get to know us a little bit. And I mean, I could tell you I'm great. I could walk you around the parking lot, show you all these nice cars that were in process or that are done. You can more than welcome to look at our work right now if you want. Or do your research and just guarantee it. I do guarantees that nobody else does. And I do that because it builds trust and I close more jobs. If that one person comes back and says, remember that guarantee? I'm going to cash my chips on that. Great. So the one guy or gal does. So what? You make so much more money than you do in giving back free work or whatever or product. People are always worried about doing these crazy guarantees. Guarantee it. I guarantee double your money back if it doesn't come out to factory perfection. And if one person in 6 months says, you know what? I have another car that's brand new and it's a Hyundai Elantra and this is the one you just fixed. It doesn't look perfect. It's not factory perfection. No worries, Tommy. Here's your money back. Not a big deal. I mean, if you're going to do a good job or sell a nice product, at the end of the day, people aren't going to call you out on it. They just want trust. They want it done right, right? People do discounts and guarantees outperform discounts. Why? Because trust is higher up on the ladder. Saving a few bucks for the right kind of client is not as important as gaining the trust of the right client. I'm hammering this home. I feel like I'm beating the top of the camera here. Let me beat on the microphone. It's important you guys understand that. I'm not going to tell you I learned it overnight. I did it. Businesses with a clear point of difference convert up to 2x higher. Okay? Sameness kills conversions more than bad ads. You need to be different. And people need to understand that. What is clearly different about my job? What is clearly different about that hairstylist over there? You know, that's the number one balayage girl in all of Orange County. Well, maybe I got to go there, you know, or this person over here does the best fades. That barber, that's the dude, you know. I mean, I know his chair's booked, or this guy does all the stars and he's got great personality, he's super entertaining. I want to go sit in his chair and just chop it up with this dude, all right, or chick or whatever. There's a lot of different ways to differentiate, but you need to have a point of difference. You need to differentiate because if you're the same, a sea of sameness, why? Why would anybody care? That's the whole kind of point of this podcast episode. We're trying to come up with an offer that's so unique about your business, whether it's the business itself or what you're giving to the client. Because at the end of the day, I've always said, it's not so much even what we sell or what we do. A lot of it's entertainment, believe it or not. I mean, I talked about vaudeville with the hat and cane. I mean, at the end of the day, people want to have a unique experience. Sure, they want their car fixed right, but they don't want to come into some shit-ass, gross-smelling, dirty, slimy body shop, you know, that's from years gone by, or it's kind of still out there still. There's a lot of car repair facilities that are just, quite frankly, if you guys don't mind me saying it, and if you got tender little ears, I want you to put your earmuffs on right now, they're ass. They're just ass. And we're trying to come to new terms and make things just, you know, in 2026, the future, you know, we want to have something that people can really kind of sink their teeth into and trust and feel like, oh, this is unique and clean. And I mean, you should see the look on people's faces. 3 times now they come to the back where we just redid our warehouse and they're just like blown away with it. I mean, the lighting, it's clean and everything. That alone is getting us trust. Here's another thing, a lot of people don't understand this. How much time do you guys think it takes for a customer to make a decision? You think it's a couple minutes? Is it overnight? Nah, they pretty much understand and make a decision in 30 seconds. Once you presented all the information, they're making a decision at that point. Oh, I gotta go talk to my wife. That's a decision. That's a soft fuck you. And I'm sorry if you've heard that before, and I've heard it, okay? And I'm not offended by it. Your offer has got to land emotionally fast. That's why all these steps have to be in play. If you do it, you're going to get more closes, is what it boils down to. Complexity, don't try to be fancy and too quirky. You know, because if it's too complex, you're going to lose. I don't understand what the hell Denko does, man. They're serving coffee, they got strippers in there, they got a DJ. I don't know what's going on in there. And that sounds like a really fun business to work at, and we're working on that. But right now, we're not doing that. So, not the stripper part. DJ and coffee, why not? That sounds like a lot of fun. I'll never forget. Sidebar, dirt road, went to right by UCI, which is here in Southern California, University of California, Irvine. There was this really cool clothing place. I was in my 20s, like a century ago. And I go in and I could hear the music's pumping. My buddy and I look at, oh yeah, this is our kind of joint. Walk in and I kind of look up, and on this little veranda is like this little railing, and pretty cute girl just freaking spinning wax. And I'm just like, all right, I'm in my 20s, it's the kind of vibe I want. Do my seniors want to see a DJ come into the bar shop? Probably not. Even though I'm an old F, I wouldn't mind it. It'd be kind of fun. But like I said, I digress. Is that really going to help me get more business? No, not at all. But a lot of fun. And fun's kind of important. We've had podcast episodes about it. At the end of the day, yeah, we need to make money, but hopefully you're going to have fun doing it. Really. Take a Man Brian. OMB. All right, so over 80% of service businesses compete on price or speed alone. Guys, what does that mean for you? That means that leaves a massive white space for you to dive in, okay, and get into those blue ocean waters, if you will. Craft a smarter offer. People are just kind of stupid, and we make our decent margins and business goes, and we go home and eat our Kentucky Fried Chicken and go to bed and kick the dog. There's so much more opportunity, and that's kind of what this is about. Yeah, it takes a little bit of freaking brain bandwidth. You got to kind of tune out to tune in. Stop the doom scroll for a little bit. Stop watching Netflix. Sit down, relax a little bit. Honey, let me give you a hug and a kiss. Now, GTFO, let me focus on this. Get your freaking white line paper out or whatever, and start to dive in. And look at that white space and start going through all these little checklists and find something. Because I'm telling you right now, don't be the 80%. Be the 20. Be the 20% of businesses that don't have to compete on price. Clearly, I don't. I've had people walk like the person that walked today, but as I told you, my parking lot's full. Our calendar right there, which you can't see. It's also off camera. Calendar over here, price grid over here. Next time I'll go wide lens and you can see it all. We're booked. We're booked up. We're booking into the second, third week of 2026. Why? We're ticking all the right boxes. Yeah, that's what it boils down to. Here's some offers that I kind of sidebar that I see. They're just like, they're just junk. Free estimates. People ask me that. So I almost should probably I'm bored of it, but it's one of those things that just because you're bored of it doesn't mean it doesn't bear repeating. I need to keep telling people, hey, you know what? Yeah, we do free estimates. But most businesses, people assume you're going to get a free estimate. And I think some places are charging, or because of insurance now, they don't want to do estimates or blah, blah, blah. So, but to me, it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of poppycock, if you will. Well, we offer the best quality. What does that really mean? Okay. No. Family owned. A family of what? Possums? A family of hicks or backwoods? I mean, does it really matter? Not at all. Would you care if, it's family owned? Yeah, I mean, some people go small businesses and go small versus corporate. I appreciate that. I try to do that when I can, but at the end of the day, most people don't. They just want what's best for them, and I can't blame them. And if it's going to be a corporate business, it's going to be a corporate business, And then how about we care about customers? Really? I hear that. Whenever I hear that, it almost is like the oxymoron. No, you don't. I'm going to put you on hold for an hour and a half, but we really care about you. No, you don't, because if you did, you wouldn't do this shit to me. That's like cable television service or, the DMV. We really care about you, but yet there's going to be a 3-hour freaking wait. I'll tell you this: if your competitor could copy your offer in 10 minutes, is it an offer? No, it's definitely not a unique offer. It's basically just it's a slogan, So you need to think of something that you're willing to do. It may cause you more work. It may cause you a little more pain, if you're unique, it's going to make you more money. And it's just you're gonna close more business. All right. So guys, here's a little homework challenge for the new year. Okay, rewrite your offer this week if you can, or next week. Use fear. Use fear that you know about your clients instead of stacking new features. Like I said, the dog shit and mint ice cream. For Baskin-Robbins 32 flavors. It's not about adding more ice cream flavors. It's about going in on fear. Okay, and remove the fear. And how can you do that and then inject that into your marketing? That is so powerful, guys. And I'm not going to tell you guys that I close everything. I don't. Some people, I don't always dress. I'm in the back of the house. I'm actually working. Old man Bry, OMB, he works. He actually, like I said, I do the dance. I help with Jeff. I was helping him do some wheels yesterday. When I come up, I'm not wearing the prototypical, oh, this is the owner of the business. You know, I'm not wearing my blue suit and wingtip shoes and all that. I look kind of like, yeah, that word again, ass. But you know, there's also some trust with that. There's also some lack of trust sometimes. Like, this business was doing so well. Shouldn't they have an owner that's clean and all the workers in the back are the ones? I could see how some people would think that. And there are some times I've felt that gaze where the woman or the guy, the eyes just drop down and then look up and you just see a disappointment. Kind of like my mom used to give me right before school or after or during. And just kidding. And yeah, like I said, you can't be all things to all people. I guess what it boils down to. You know, I've chose my path. This is my path. It's the Olavic Road, and I'm gonna go see the wizard. Rewrite your offer this week. Focus on removing fear instead of stacking new features, guys. If anybody has any questions, you can DM me or email me your offer ideas. I'm here to help. I really am. But I guarantee for the maybe 0.5 of you out there that are actually going to do this, if you actually put some time in, you could strike gold. You could actually pull a nice little, blue diamond out of the diamond mine this weekend or next week if you put the time in. And ours hasn't been like a mule kicking down a barn door kind of event. It's been a slow unveiling over the past few years of just learning a couple things and making some changes. Right now, I have a web dev. He is making web changes as we speak, changing our CTAs, changing the photos, changing our aesthetic to kind of jive with these core competencies and these unique attributes that I know. I know the mobile guys can't offer. I know that Caliber can't offer. And I'm the only one. We're a unicorn. And being a unicorn, it has its benefits. And if you can somehow muscle up and get your unicorn on, then you're gonna reap the rewards. Okay, so like I said, apologize if I went on a big ass rant here. I know this went kind of long. Let's see, how long are we? 40 minutes isn't too bad. This is the last podcast I think of the year, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah, because next year it'll be next podcast episode will be 2026, and I'll be a lot older. Anywho, love you all. Thanks so much for listening. If you have a grandmother or a friend that could benefit with this podcast, please refer. Wherever you catch your podcasts online, please rate and review us. And that's it. After this, guys, I hope to see you and hear you all and be able to assist you further in the next year, 2026. Love you all. Have yourselves a great New Year's Eve, great New Year's. Be safe and sane, and we'll catch you on the next SAR Marketing Podcast. Bye-bye for now.